Xiaomi has successfully occupied a segment of e-ink readers that no one has touched since the Kobo Mini. 2 generations of the Inkpalm Mini e-readers have ruled the roost. However, have they stepped outside of what made them so popular in the first place? Well, the 3rd generation Inkpalm Mini features a near 6-inch screen at 5.84 and kind of is straying away from the device being mini. However, them being on their 3rd generation, they must be doing something right. Well, let's head over to the chalkboard and figure it out together. The screen has been upgraded to 5.84 inches from 5.2. The resolution is also different at 1440 by 720 on the 3rd gen. For some reason, the battery is brought down from 4200 mAh to a mere 2250. Both the RAM and internal storage has been doubled. They did carry over the same Android 11 operating system from the last gen as well as the USB-C. More importantly, however, the inclusion of English is only found on the latest generation. This is the UI. It looks very nice, it's very easy to understand, and yes, it's much like a cell phone. Unfortunately, this thing is built like a phone, it looks like a phone, it performs like a phone. There is no earpiece package here, or sound of any kind, so you will have to utilize Bluetooth, and you will have to utilize the device's wireless connectivities. It does have a volume button on the side. It does have musical capabilities, just nothing on board. All the apps that have this kind of pencil line outline will be the ones that are included. If you don't like something, for example the JD Marketplace, you can click uninstall. After clicking uninstall, it asks you, do you want to uninstall this app? You don't have to worry about the Chinese preloaded things on here. You can sideload in anything you want. As you can see, we popped on Aldico because this is running Android 11 and you're able to sideload in apps. Now, even though this is in English, the drop down is not for some reason, and I don't know why. We've done everything we can to force it on the back end, change the keyboards, change the font sizes. It just won't change. However, all the settings are going to be in English, so whether you go to device settings, whether you go to security, system update, anything you want, it is all going to be in the language you choose. There are 3 languages to choose from. Your reading experience is only going to be as good as the app you're using. Now, this is pretty much the same screen size as a Kindle, but you wouldn't know it, and that's because it's using an elongated screen, and screens are measured diagonally. So although it's 5.84, which is pretty much the same as 6 inches, it's on such an extreme 15-degree angle as opposed to a 45-degree angle like an Amazon, almost square, not really, but almost. It just looks really small. Now, the beauty of this is that you do get that mini feel, and to be honest, even though they did upgrade the screen, it is still wieldy in one hand. And the beauty is you can actually turn the pages with your thumb and the volume buttons, because they're not always volume buttons. On things like PDFs and manga and the ebook experience, they actually act as dedicated page turn buttons without you having to set it as such. Even if you're using something like the Amazon Kindle app and you can't change pages with the volume keys, there's a setting in settings on the Kindle app that says do you want to change the pages with the volume keys? So with that, you get a very nice handheld reading experience, and that is what this is honestly boasting. It is meant to be used with one hand, whether you want to use your fingers with your left hand or your thumbs with your right hand. This is able to be used on one hand. You don't have to swipe, you don't have to reach over and change your grip. And also, this is running a gloss screen, but to be completely honest, everyone is, for the most part. They just put a factory anti-glare / matte screen protector on here. However, Xiaomi did not do that. I'm not sure why, but you can go on AliExpress and just match the dimensions from a 5.84 inch smartphone, and because this doesn't have a mouthpiece or earpiece cutout, it won't really matter that you have the little shapes where it's laser cut to fit. It'll just basically fit as long as you buy a rectangle. Please believe us when we say that you guys want to see PDFs. The majority of people out there, the majority, want to see PDFs. Does it make any sense to have a PDF on this device? Absolutely not, because it's far too small. This is just way too small of an experience. This is our standardized benchmark testing PDF. It's quite big, it's hundreds of pages long, it's quite a large file, really pushes the device to its limits, and if you're laughing at what we said there, you should be surprised that even some Amazon devices couldn't even run PDFs for the first 3 generations of Paperwhite even. So it does go a long way to say that these devices aren't always exactly 100% PDF proof, but this really isn't that great of an experience. Once you zoom in, well, it's fine because I've changed what I was looking at, and it does render decently fast to be able to see what's written. But then you just, based on the app, you might not have a mini-map, you don't know where you are, you're forced to just continuously zoom in and out and say, oh, there I am, and then you got to zoom back in. Now there are apps that will reflow, but that takes a very long time, and it always messes with the picture elements, the image elements, the interactable links if you have hyperlinks on a PDF. There's just a lot to go on here, but if you needed to run PDFs, someone sent you a document to oversee, and you're on your Inkpalm, you absolutely can do it. This thing is very open for you to download documents, pop them in any file folder you want, make new subfolders, read PDFs on basically any application, Adobe, Aldico, Xreader, anything you wish to download. It most certainly can do it. Is this a good screen size for manga? No. Why? Because manga is this big. In its smallest form for the most part, it is this big. Now, American/North American graphic novels are very thin and they're much bigger. They're like a kind of A4 piece of paper or letter size. This is basically what a manga looks like. So as you can see, this is significantly smaller. However, can you use it in one hand? Absolutely. And it's a decent experience, and it's an HD screen, and it's a condensed small screen. So what that means when you have a screen that is HD and has a high density, that means it's just naturally way better and it looks less pixelated. As you make things bigger and you don't retain a proper pixel density, like a very large screen device maybe running color, 127 ppi max, things start to get a little blurry and pixelated and washed out. And that's because they're trying to fill the gaps in between the lines, and they're adding little gradients of gray on either side of the line and the stroke. It's a whole thing, but basically the smaller the screen is, the less you can really tell how bad it looks. And I don't mean that in a negative way, because this honestly does look very good. This looks extremely good. This is a very standard PDF, just fit to width, and it's looking mighty fine, can be read in one hand. There's nothing wrong whatsoever. This is a decent manga experience, although it does require some pinch and zoom to really get in there if you want to see how things look. Now, Xiaomi does give you an app store. That's a good point. The bad point, that's the total amount of apps there are. There's 12 apps. That's it. You got a couple pages, you got Kindle China, which is kindle.cn, you have co-reader, that's it. There really isn't anything for you here. Don't use it, I'm sorry to say, but it's just not good. Instead, because this is an open device, you can go to any app store you want. APK Pure, APK Mirror, you can go to one mobile store, you can go to the Goody Reader app store and download whatever you like. You can click on something, you download it. Because this has Android 11, because it has a package installer, all you have to do is click download. It's going to ask you if you want to download it. You simply click yes, it'll download it, it'll install it, and away you go. In terms of apps and availability, this is quite good. You can download your email, you can download social media. There's really nothing you can't download. There's something to mention, which brings us into our next section, is the lack of speed modes on here, in that there are none. The lack of speed modes is a little bit of a letdown and is quite concerning because this is a great device. This really, really is, and they are one step away from this being exemplary, is to have a speed mode. Unfortunately, there just simply isn't any. So you are stuck in this base mode, which is basically the clear mode, so to speak. There's no speed, there's no A2, there's no balance, there's no X. It is just this. So unfortunately, videos aren't unwatchable. As you can see, you can capture some movement it's decent, but you're running at around 10 frames a second. It's just not that great. And when you get into anything that has massive amount of detail like you see here, it handled the B-roll portion of our video here quite well, but when it gets into a lot of movement, a lot of changes in the e-ink's performance, it just can't keep up. And it really is just the last piece of the puzzle from preventing this of being an amazing device. It is kind of weird how that drop-down isn't in English. I just can't put my finger on it. But either way, we have a Glowlight here. Oh no, it's quite blue, isn't it, everyone? Well, don't worry, they got you covered with a warm light as well. So you can make that super orange, you can offset it to kind of mix and match and get this nice, perfect white. Look at that distribution. That's fantastic. And because e-readers and e-ink devices now utilize a gel layer with LEDs attached to it, you don't really get any of the light as a front light anymore, rather than just an illuminated layer. It's an illuminated top coat. You can watch our teardown video on our YouTube channel if you want to know what we're talking about, but that distribution is spot on. It's absolutely gorgeous. This is a very good glow light, a very, very good glow light. There's not much wrong to say about this whatsoever. The Inkpalm is in its 3rd generation. Although it's bigger, it's far faster, more robust, and does away with the reflective backing that just gets scratched on the first day. Although it's no longer technically mini, it is still within the 5-inch category. Until there's another competitor out there to rival a powerhouse brand like Xiaomi, the Inkpalm remains a force to be reckoned with in a small form factor. For GoodyReader.com, this is Peter.